Hi, my name is Debbie Merkel. I'm a Kelowna artist, and I'd like to thank the Process Art audience for watching. Today I have my friend Michelle Wiebe with me, and she's going to be launching her own YouTube channel. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Good. So, Michelle, you're going to start your own YouTube channel. Oh my gosh. Well, before we get into that, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So, well, I'd say my true art journey started about 2012. And I was always playing a little bit of art, but it was the moment when I decided, no, I need to sit with this and actually spend a little time. And I found these little bottles of what was called alcohol ink. And I'd already played with a bunch of mediums at that point. And it was kind of a point in life where I didn't have a lot of time to really invest in, doing it, but I knew I needed it. So it was kind of like looking at, how can I fit this in? So I started just playing around and found that these little bottles of magic just kind of talked to the soul. So it was really kind of using these little bottles of ink, and then the next thing you know, they're touching each other, they're moving, they're expanding. And I was just like, whoa, this is nothing I've seen before. And I kind of get bored with stuff pretty easy, like,
What creatives do.
yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. And so my attention span with these guys now is a good 12 years in.
Wow.
And so that it's held my attention for 12 years is a fascinating thing all by itself. So it was just literally just starting to explore and learn how to use them and to work with them. And I didn't have a teacher. It was just kind of me and a little space. So I started working on some little tiles, just some little 4x4s.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it started, was just kind of drop here, drop there, until, it's kind of expanded to now.
So do you use paper or do you use canvas?
Yeah, so it started out with, you can't just use any paper. So with alcohol inks, it has to be a non-porous surface for it to do the magic.
Okay.
So it kind of has to stay on the surface to be able to move and blend. And then the evaporation happens of the isopropanol, which is the base of the ink. So then you're left with the beautiful pigments. And that was the other thing that just took me back, was the colors. So these colors come out, and the vibrancy, like there's just a little so like with watercolor, it dries and it softens.
Yeah.
And that always made me feel a little sad. And I was like, what happened, right? And it was like, I wanted that, and so it gave me that. It literally gave me that. And it was fast. Like, it was something I could do in between, like, whatever else I was doing in life, and sit down and have a few moments and just be like, and then that would just give me that excitement till the next time.
Well, and it's interesting how we're so drawn to color.
Color.
I know artists, and who love the watercolor and love the subdued colors. And I've tried to paint like that, but I can't.
Yeah. And what I found is people are a little bit afraid.
They are.
Like, I had a...
Because it's happy.
Yeah. How can you be afraid of happy?
Exactly.
So for me, it was, I think it was almost part of a healing journey also, because, I was always attracted to color, but then kind of like getting comfortable with color. And then I found as I worked with the alcohol inks, it was just more and more color. And sometimes I think my colors for some people are kind of intimidating. But for me, they give life, like they breathe life.
Now, you mentioned to me before the interview that you do teaching, or that you have taught.
Yeah, well, it was kind of a funny process. So didn't really see that one coming. So it kind of just started out like, kind of a little introvert, my little art room. And then over the summers, it kind of came to a point in time where I thought, well, I got to kind of put myself out there. I got to kind of start seeing what other people think about this stuff. And so I started doing some art markets and some art shows in the local, community. And it was really exciting, because then you start getting feedback from people, and then you start getting the questions. But one of the biggest questions that started really coming was, do you teach? Do you teach?
People want to learn.
Yes. Yeah. And when they see something that's new and exciting to them, it's like starts unraveling, like, ooh, I wonder if I could. So at first it's like, yeah, no, I don't teach. No, I don't teach. Not me, I don't teach. No, And so after about 6 years of hearing that, out doing shows and selling my art, which was wonderful and I totally loved, I realized that people wanted more than just something they could take away. They wanted an experience. So that rattled around in my brain for a while, and had to get up some confidence to be like, okay, well, how would I do this? So I had some art ladies that I kind of hung out with that I said, would I be able to do a test run on you? Like, we have a little night together. So we kind of made a little setup, and I supplied all the stuff and thought, okay, how would I go about teaching this? And they all loved it. So that was the first, like, check in the box
Right.
going, yeah, girl, you can do this. Yeah. So that fueled, like, okay, now what? And so that's how the journey of teaching started.
That's sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very organic and very universal, just saying.
So is that your intention then, starting a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I've realized, like, I really love creating stuff, and I love making the art, and I do love the solo journey of creating and tuning in to the intuitive, thoughts that come in. But also I really love seeing people come into a workshop, kind of like, a little nervous, a little intimidated, but
Thinking they can't.
thinking they can't, but that something inside was saying you can, right? So then it started with that kind of process of, okay, like, and so just kind of put it out there in the local community, and then just seeing people just totally evolve within a couple hours of walking through the door to leaving with their piece proud. That shifted everything. That was truly the moment where I was like, wow, you can offer that. That's something you can give, right? And
It's so rewarding.
there's no words.
Yeah.
And so that was even better than selling art. Like, that was even the whole cycle. That was better than that. So yeah, so then the journey really turned into, like, wow, I really have something I can, give people to take away with, which is the feeling plus their own creation, not
Exactly.
me selling them a piece of art. So yeah, I've had a lot of opportunities to teach, and I just found that it progressed my own, because sometimes people are like, well, what about? And I'd be like, oh, what about? And so then we'd learn it together, like, in that moment, because I'd always tell people, like, when I'm teaching, I'm self-taught, but also my rules of teaching is there's no wrong.
Well, and also, when we teach, it's
Yeah.
a two-way.
100%.
We learn from students,
You
and
betcha.
students learn from
Yeah.
us.
And so that was it. And I've never had a bad teaching experience to this day. Like, I've had some people where you can feel them get a little frustrated, or they kind of like, and I just go spend a little time with them. And I said, hey, that's looking good. But I also found, like, you touched on color. Color to me is fascinating when people start playing with their colors and what their colors are. And you really get to learn about people.
You do.
Through their colors.
You do.
Right? So that's another part of it that I really love too, is like, oh, I see that you like, or, just, kind of the chakras and how that plays into someone's emotions too. So I feel color's hugely powerful with that.
Yeah, it really is. If you like what you saw today, please subscribe to the channel.